Women's Empowerment Series, Pep Talks, Poetry Empowerment Project, Back to Nature. I'm going to be doing a reading today, and this is fitting that I'm at an Indian mound in St. Petersburg, Florida. It is an ancient site. This is, I don't know if you can see behind me, but it is actually a big mound. It is where the Native Americans, they settled once before this land had houses on it. So again, I'm reading. This is Pamela with Pep Talks, reading Back to Nature, Love, and Accept Yourself. So this book is over there on Amazon.com, and if you want to kind of contribute and help with the cause, and you have to forgive me, I have papers, and actually I am reading. So this is kind of the summary. It says, she is exiled to a distant land. There she discovers the language of nature and her way back home. And this story is told in poetry and prose. And thank you for joining me here, and I hope you all stick around. So this is chapter 1. I'm going to just read a little excerpt, read some of it before I actually kind of get into the talk. So this is chapter 1, day 1. It is the exile. She has been exiled from her family to a faraway land. She gathers kindling from a dead baboa tree. Then she sits down, satisfied that she has gathered enough to last the night. There are 2 small twigs to start the fire to cook the large bass that she snared from a nearby stream, which will taste good once she's cooked them over an open flame. This is a fitting place for her to make camp. The trees provide a buffer from the outside world, where people did not understand her ways. She looks up and she smiles. Sunbeams pierce through the clouds. Pain prompted her to leave her home so suddenly. At first, bitterness had consumed her, but then she realized what a great time to make peace with herself. She wasn't afraid. The woods held no fear. It was in the city where she often panicked, and she could never feel at ease because she did not fit in. Last week, her life took a tailspin and it spun out of control. When anxiety struck, she was unable to concentrate. And so again, I'm sorry, this is my paper, and I don't have my book, even though it's a published copy. So she had to find a quiet place to quiet the voices that wanted to deny her a place. Her family and her friends had become estranged, and she could no longer hold on to the facade. She was tired of playing the games of control and consumption, trying to live up to the standards of a sick society. She left her job, she walked out on her marriage, even in the people in her faith organization betrayed her. She had given them over 15 years of her life. She scanned the forest for any sign of life. The only thing that reflected were shadows and greenery. She took out a match and struck it on the box. Quickly the fire set ablaze. Her eyes opened wide as the wood began to crackle. Now roaring anticipation could breathe. One more log on top of the fire, then the blaze bit up. Fire in the night sky created the perfect environment for the unfurling of her pent-up rage. She wasn't hungry, so she sat down to rest on a grassy spot next to the baboa tree. She looked to the sky, and small twinkling stars started to appear. The moon greeted her with a crooked smile, letting her know that everything was okay. The roaring flame penetrated throughout the darkness. Eerie drones rang out and soothed her restlessness. One last moment of stillness, then the darkness devoured her. So that is chapter 1, and I think I'll just read another. This is a chapter 2, The Dance. Again, this is available over there on Amazon.com. It's a little small little read. It's called Back to Nature, Beginning to Love and Accept Yourself. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed and woke her from dreaming. It came from behind a cluster of trees. The hum held her in its embrace, and no matter how hard she tried, she could not wrestle free. A feeling that had always troubled her after she had turned 18. A sense of dismay shrouded her most days, but she continued to live at home because there was nowhere else to go. This time, she would stay with the feeling and see what it would lead her. She faced the fire and saw images dance in the flames. She stood still until they took form, her stare more intense, awaiting a change. A loud crackle caused her nerves to twitch. Her chest vibrated with a rumble as the air made it difficult to breathe. The flames jumped up and scorched her forehead, branding her. A searing pain moved around in her brain, knocking it from side to side, whipping her hair into a frenzy. A tingle began in her toes, and she kicked her legs ferociously. Soon her arms were thrashing and jutting at some imagined thing. She flowed with this melody. Her body was the music and the dance. She was the recorder of history. The fire took control. Cinders popped on her body, even though she felt no pain. Small sores did appear, fragments of a life that had moved underground, now emerged out of the flames and demanded her attention. Listen, daughter, you have come here to take the wisdom. You must divulge it to the world. A knowledge of time without beginning or ending is your legacy. Establish a fire every night for the next 15 days. Each night, we will come out and give you the gift that you must show and give to the world. The one matter left is for you is to believe. Flame touched her, but she felt no pain. She danced and sang her heart out in awe of the gift she just received. She bowed in reverence to the spirits and accepted their gifts. Her arms and legs moving, it was like they were caught in a dream. The sun and moon appeared many times until she danced, until there was no more. And so that's chapter 2. And this is back to nature, loving and appreciating yourself. And so one more chapter, and then I know I keep saying this, but this is really a really short read. This is chapter 2, but it is day 4, and it is the water. Thank you for coming here and listening. Hope you stick around. So over the hill, the sun began to climb. She fell to the ground exhausted on a layer of soft grass that provided a place for her to rest. She closed her eyes and sleep found her laying under the baobab tree. She blinked away the water that had touched her eyelids when she was waking to the sound of rain. How many hours had she slept? She did not know. Her mouth opened and tiny droplets collected on her tongue. The sound of flowing water guided her and provided a relief. She had slept many days. A memory flooded her mind and she thought back. She hadn't eaten in days. She was going to eat the fish, only something had called her away. She was well rested and wanted to bathe. She walked to the edge and saw steam rising from below. She glanced over the drop. It was a waterfall that lifted her high in the gentle wind and let her down softly. She stripped away her clothes and stood naked under the water as it washed her pain away. She opened her mouth. The water dripped into her tongue and then propelled her into the air. She landed back down in a cool pool of blue. Waves surrounded and tossed her about. A school of fish swam hurriedly away, not wanting to be consumed or destroyed in any way. She swam with the fish, becoming one with them and somehow sensing their way. They were no longer afraid. They welcomed her and took her into their school. She could feel this calm and serenity as she swam near them. The water, now a share, filtered through her lungs, an ability born as she became one. It was a wonderful view of underwater life. Fishes of all shapes and colors swam by, their life so carefree. She relished in this newfound freedom, my home on the sea. Back on dry line, looking out into the horizon, she realized she preferred to be on the green grass. A deep breath and the water was released from her lungs and spilled out onto the dry land. She looked about for something to eat. There were all sorts of fruit trees. She picked one and plucked it into her mouth. She sat on the ground on a layer of greens, her hair entangled, smelling of the ocean. She nibbled small bites. This would be her 5th night. After eating, she was ready to pack her day. She wandered through the lush green forest, spending time staring at the wonderful creatures who had come into the open to welcome her home. Soon darkness consumed the forest. She gathered in front of the mound that now stood over 6 feet high. She retrieved her clothes, realizing that she had walked around all day naked. She no longer doubted that she was in a safe place. So that's all I'll read. Again, I'll read a little bit more next week. That is Back to Nature, the story. This is a little story that I had a chance to publish over there on Amazon.com. And this pep talks, it's just reading and poetry. And now I'm going to get into like the little bit more formalized. So again, this is the Womenist Empowerment Series. And it is celebrating the rebirth of women over 50. Hello! So this is the time to redesign our lives. I have taken the time to redesign my life. So if you are a mother whose life has centered around children who are grown and now living on their own, if you are retired and looking forward to retirement but wanting to do something exciting and fulfilling your day. So again, this is for the woman over 50, or if you fit into this category of really wanting to discover something more for your life. So again, if you're divorced, after being married what seemed like 100 years, do you want to feel a sense of freedom? So this is what this is. So what is it that you really want to do? So this Empowered Woman course, again, that I am designing, that I'm going to make available, is for the woman who's over 50. And if you're in this category, who wants to move past the hurt and betrayal. We've all lived this life. If you've lived long enough, you've experienced some hurts and you've experienced some betrayal. But how you're going to be able to put that behind you and move on with your life. So again, I know we all made mistakes, but let not those mistakes kind of define our lives. Those mistakes have made us into what we are today. And so again, this is for over 50. It is the time to thrive. Actually, this is a time for everybody alive at this time to thrive, because we've already survived. So now it's really time to thrive and become our better selves. So stories define. The reason why I wanted to start this with stories, because really stories begin to define who we are, not let anyone define us. But as a writer, I'm going to define my own life and the life of my family and communities and help that shape that life. So you can continue to live the story that you created. I lived the story for over 50 years that no one really loved me, and consequently that's what reflected back to me. I don't know where it started. It really doesn't matter. I do know where it started, but that's a whole nother topic. But again, that was a story that was created. And no, I don't want to live that story anymore, because it doesn't bring me any joy and happiness. So this is how you can transform your story and begin to craft your own story that affirms a grown woman. We are all grown women, okay? So let your past be a stepping stone, that it can carry you on to the next level of where you actually really want to go. And so again, leave a comment, a thumbs up, that this kind of resounds with you, and this is something that may have interested you. And so one of the things that I've also created is a Patreon page, and where I'm actually creating this pep talks, which is actually Pamela's Empowered Prose, that I'm going to publish. I'm going to be into, again, publishing and then making those publications available. So go over and just kind of check out my Patreon page, and it's underneath Pep Talks, or you can look for it underneath my name, Pamela Wiley. And I just wanted to take a little bit of time here. I see there's a couple people here that have been with me. Thank you very much, Harlena, Keisha, Regina, for really sticking around and listening and hearing me. And these virtual retreats, I'm going to take them to another level. This includes meditation, includes drumming, and includes poetry. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to sign off now. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.